So graphing a quadratic, um, it's going to be all the information that we start with. First off, the GD test. Now, we've actually got our picture here, okay? Normally, the picture won't be shown. Or what might be shown is you get four versions of what the quadratic is. So they would give you a trinomial like this, and they would say, what is the graph for this trinomial? And there would be four graphs listed there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you would have to say it's either A, B, C, or D. Now, what I'm going to do is instead of answering all of these questions, I want to give you a couple of pieces of just key ideas. Because again, remember, the test is timed. And we don't have time to answer all of these questions in order to get an accurate graph. But what we can do is just use a couple of ideas to help us solve. So one of the things that might be the longest piece of this is if you try to solve for your x-intercepts. Now, if you try to do that in order to pick the correct graph, then that means you're going to be using the quadratic equation, where x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of blah, 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 blah. It's actually quite a bit. So you would actually spend a lot of time trying to solve, where you would have to say, well, this is my A term, this is my B term, this is my C term. So one of the ideas that might be the easiest to help at least give you an idea and just maybe eliminate some of the other options is to do something that's actually quite easier. It's actually one of the things might say this. Is the parabola facing up or down? That is an easier idea to eliminate some of the options, because if you have four options and if you just try this, this might actually eliminate most of the options where you can pick the right answer. So is the parabola facing up or down? That is all concerned about the A term. Remember the A term? The A term of this is the thing that is actually being squared. That is the A part of the term right there. And the up or down depends on whether that is either positive or negative. Now, I'll look at my 2, and my 2 is positive. So because my 2 is positive, I know that my parabola is going to be facing up. Now, I can use this information to look at A, B, and C, and D. And if any of them are not facing up, then they're wrong. That's so easy to do. Another piece that I can do, if I say, oh, okay, I'm left with 2. Let's say I have an A choice and a D choice where they're both facing up. So another thing that I can do is find the y-intercept. Now, the y-intercept is an easy part to finish this, okay? The y-intercept is actually the last part. It is actually the C term. And where the C term is, this one says negative 15. So at my negative, that's where the parabola crosses the y-axis, and it crosses right there. And if I'm like, okay, I know that because my A is positive, my parabola should be facing up. I see that my C term should be at negative 15, and I see it there. And then if I look at both A and D, like if I'm looking between choices and I say, okay, I found one, this one doesn't cross at the negative 15, then I know I already have the right choice with A. Now, I would say that that's a better way to approach this complete graphing. And then instead of trying to do everything, like for instance, find my x-intercepts, which is actually using the quadratic equation to solve. Then what is my max and min of my vertex or apex? I would suggest that is not the best way to do this. Maybe start again. Is my parabola facing up or down? And then what is the y-intercept?